Hi, Steve here and
Francesca
from Hyrox Workouts, and we're going to start our YouTube channel. The first thing we're going to go through,
or YouTube series,
is the 8 qualities that you need or should be inspiring to be the ultimate Hyrox athlete. We're not ultimate Hyrox athletes.
Speak for yourself. I am.
But
I am, and I'll tell you why later.
We'll get to that.
What this wants to cover is if you want to keep getting better and better at Hyrox, these are the things you want to be doing
and trying to achieve and getting towards it.
Or do a step at a time, so don't feel overwhelmed by doing 8 in one go.
No, one of these ones is actually the biggest indicator of how good your performance is as an athlete. So we're going to start off with our number 1 is
race tactics.
You need to have tactics going into the race.
Right, so let's explain why. Because we actually practiced the race a few times, didn't we, before we actually did the race, and I moaned every time.
Yeah,
but I get it. On the day, it worked.
It keeps us in good stead for what we're doing, because we know our pacing. We know we do the mixed doubles, so we know how we're going to split things. Even if you're doing an individual one, you still have to know how to pace your runs, how fast you're going to go. You need to know the speed you're going to go on the ski erg. You need to know everything. So there's a lot of tactics involved in getting your race right, so you don't go out really quick and then blow up, literally. And then struggling like mad at the end or partway through and thinking, what am I doing? You probably still think, what am I doing?
Yeah, I did think that. And also, I know a lot of people go to Hyrox very fit, but don't actually do the practice race until the day. They leave it till the day because they just think, I'll just do it on the day.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't want to do that. I get why people do it a bit, but
no chance. You have that specific prep training where you bring everything together, bring all your training together, and then you work on that. So there's always race tactics. Practice, get used to what tactics you're going to use. It will help you be at your best on the day.
And it actually relaxes you, knowing you've done it a few times. Even though the training's painful, it's better on the endurance when you've done it a few times already. You're waiting for me to say it.
I don't know who's saying them. Number 2.
Number 2, strength endurance, postural strength. Postural strength, is that the one when you thrust your glute? Postural, when you do all your glute drives and stuff. Postural training, no.
Posture.
Oh.
What are you thinking of?
I don't know.
No. So strength, you need to be strong. Right, with strength, there's so many different qualities of strength. I've picked out just a couple of strength endurance and postural strength. But if you look at West Side barbell classification of strength, they have 10 different classifications of strength. There's a lot of different things you can develop. Basically, you need to be strong enough to push that prowler. No. Push the sled.
I called it a sledge once.
Oh, some people call it a sled. You called it sledge for ages.
No, I did.
You need to have the strength to push the sled. You need to have the strength to pull the sled. You need the strength for the lunges.
Yeah, but I also want to say
grip strength. Yep.
When we were practicing, Steve couldn't even do a 10 kg barbell for like 20 reps. Did you? Because
I've just done.
You struggled.
Right. So this is where your classification of strength comes in. I could deadlift 200 kilos. But if I was to do something for 20 reps, nothing. The carryover isn't necessarily there. The further away you train from the rep range you need to do, the less it actually helps you. So there is benefits to getting stronger in a lower rep range, but just know if you're doing the wall balls and you want to do 100 in one go, you being really strong for one rep isn't going to give you the strength you need. That's when you need that strength endurance.
Certain things are going to be your fitness, certain things will be muscular endurance.
So you need to work on your strength endurance. And then the postural strength is things like if you're doing burpee broad jumps or wall balls, even running. If you haven't got that postural strength to hold you in the right positions.
The core?
Yeah, core strength.
Can we just, yeah.
Let's call it core strength.
Yeah, let's call it core strength because I get that as a woman.
Core strength.
Hold your bellies in, for God's sake.
If you haven't got the core strength, you're going to struggle with a lot of the movements. And this will lead us on to the next one in a minute.
And what's the hand release press ups? They're good for helping your core, aren't they?
Yeah, there's loads of stuff you could do that will help your core and doing the specific movements. But if you're doing wall balls, for example, if you keep having to lean forward or leaning back, or you can't hold that correct position, you're going to struggle. And that leads us on nicely to number 3.
Good mobility.
If you haven't got the mobility to get into that range in the squat when you do the wall balls,
So many haven't got that.
and then it's difficult.
I had it, but not very strong, did I? And now I'm better.
Yeah, stronger at the bottom. So you have to get stronger out the bottom position.
Bottom.
But again, if you're leaning forwards because you haven't got the ankle mobility, or if you just haven't got the mobility in your calves or anything else, or your shoulders are tight, you'll struggle with a lot of the movement.
We've done a lot of stretches over the last year.
We've stretched a lot.
We've had to stretch a lot.
I'll tell you what I found difficult at the beginning, just holding the...
Squat.
No, the lunges bag. Because I was that tight in my chest.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying about that, whereas I didn't struggle with that.
It's not so bad with the Hyrox bags when you can hold them at the side.
Yeah.
But the ones, if you've got them in your gyms where you just have to hold them there, well, that position for me was hard.
Yeah.
So make sure you've got the mobility you need to be able to perform all the exercises.
And that's the stretching then, you're telling us?
Yeah, get stretching, but you need to get strong in
Those
moves and those positions. You can't just get flexible.
There's no point being flexible and weak in that range. You need to be flexible and strong.
Yeah.
So that's when your strength training comes in as well. Little shoulder roll. What number are we on? Number 4. Economic in movement patterns and overall body control.
To put it in Francesca's terms,
you need to have economy or efficiency of movement. So we'll use wall balls again. If every one you do is completely different, you're not efficient in the movement. It should flow. You watch the ones who are good at it, every rep looks exactly the same. You're not catching it forwards, you're not coming backwards, you're not having to let the ball drop so you can't catch it. You need to get efficient in that same squat, press, catch, movement. Same with burpees.
so basically just practice those.
Practice them, and again, overall strength with it. Same with burpees. If every one you're doing, if you haven't got the mobility to jump forwards and the strength to get into that position to then jump forward again, you see the top ones, they look like frogs. They've got that much mobility and that much strength in the position. The hips come up and then they've gone forward again. So
I know they're fast, aren't they?
efficiency and movement. And then I tell you a classic one is when people are doing walking lunges and the knees dropping in. Just because the muscles that stabilise the knee aren't strong enough to hold the position.
All the burpees to do that.
Yeah.
The knees go in. Mine did a bit.
Again, it's getting strong and practicing good technique. If you're always doing it, we had Sam at the gym, he was doing it, his knee comes in. Ross did it as well to qualify for a championship. Knee coming in. And then you're going, oh, I don't know why my back hurts while I'm doing this. And you're thinking, because you're twisting forwards, because you're not in the correct position, you're doing it over and over again. Now your back's sore, now everything's hard. So efficiency and movement is a big one to work on, and you can work on that by getting stronger and practicing the movements you're going to do, but practice them with good technique.
Number 5, big aerobic engine and VO2 max.
I think everybody knows what when we say a big aerobic engine, especially for those who follow the Hyrox Workouts Instagram page. We're always putting on engine builder workouts. So the bigger your aerobic engine,
the easier everything's going to be. So you'll know that with all the running that you've been doing.
And slow, long runs.
The VO2 max part. VO2 max is mentioned a lot on things. It is trainable to a degree. I'm going to add in a slide here and go over a few bits on that. So if you're building your aerobic base, let's just say, what speed can you run at for? Let's say, it doesn't matter what you can do. Let's say, okay, shall I do me then?
No, go on then.
Right, 90 minutes. What sort of speed? Just roughly.
11.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm showing off.
I'd have been 10. Right.
Yeah,
so
right.
that's like your...
No, what is speed 11? Is it about 5-minute 40s?
This is kilometres per hour.
11.5 is at 5-minute 15, because I looked earlier. I reckon I could do it in 5:30 with high 40s, but I realise that.
It's now going to be a maths test for me.
5:40.
Let's go speed 10.
Yeah, let's go speed 10, which is 6 minutes.
10 kilometres per hour, 10 kilometres per hour.
Basically, I did a half marathon in 2 hours, just 2 hours, 1 minute. So whatever that speed is.
It's too hard for me to work out. So let's go with 10 kilometres per hour. So that's your aerobic threshold where you can go at that same speed, that same heart rate for all that time keep it going nice and steady. The more you train, the easier that gets. But it's a pace you can keep for a long amount of time. That's your aerobic threshold. You've then got, which if you do it on heart rate, it's going to be around
150.
Well, yeah.
Just made that up.
For most people, it won't be far off. But if it's 69 to 79%, it's still a big range. That could be 130 beats per minute up to 150. So it's a big range to work with. So you've got that. The next one up, how fast? Actually, so I'll just use my numbers. Well, how fast do you reckon you could run for an hour?
How fast?
Yeah, what sort of speed? 11? You could probably do more.
I don't know.
Let's go with speed 11. So that's more like your anaerobic threshold that you can then hold for about an hour.
Well, I ran that hour, didn't I? And I was blowing. I did 10k in 53 minutes or something like that. Do you remember? But I had to stop at 56 minutes. I don't know what that speed is, but it was probably the fastest 10k I've done. But I probably have gone a bit faster because I was running for longer.
Well, let's say that's your anaerobic threshold.
Yeah,
your VO2 max is what a speed you could hold for around 6 to 8 minutes. If you do, these are field tests. You can have all these tests in a lab, but who's going to a lab to get them tested? Let's just go with the field test. How fast you could run 2 kilometers. So now you're now partly anaerobic. You're using a lot of your anaerobic system to do this. You're using your aerobic system, but you're using your anaerobic system as well. So let's say it was speed 14. So you can then go at speed 14 kilometers per hour for 2 kilometers. That's your VO2 max speed. That we want to build up, that we want to push up. There's loads of other stuff we can look at, like anaerobic speed reserve. I don't want to make this too complicated for what we're doing, but by understanding you're going to have different speeds that you can work at is going to make you understand what you want to develop. So having that big aerobic base is developing the speed you can run at for an hour and a half. So if you can do it at speed 10, you want to build up so you can do it at speed 10 and a half, then 11.
Yeah.
11 and a half, then 12, and then push everything else up with it as well.
This is hell, this training. We did this morning. Anaerobic threshold, 85 to 90% of max heart rate. And this is where I had to get a heart rate monitor because I saw all these fitness influencers on Instagram talking about the heart rates when they ran, and I was like, I'd never be able to work that out. And it's so easy. Yeah. I thought it just sounded like a weird way of training. I don't get it. It's too many numbers, but actually it's just so easy at checking. So you can always do more than what your head lets you believe. If you've got the heart rate and you see yourself, you'll see you're only at 82% and you've got more in you, and then it hurts to get to 85. I hover around 87. I struggle to get to 90, I won't lie.
But the reason you'll struggle at 90 is because your anaerobic threshold isn't at 90% of your maximum heart rate. So you've gone above it.
I'm dying.
At anaerobic threshold, that's where we've just said you can keep that speed going for about an hour. So as soon as you start going to higher and higher percentages, that time's going to get less and less.
Yeah.
So the more elite athletes are going to have an anaerobic threshold, anaerobic percentage of 85 to 90%. There's no way I could hold 90% of my heart rate. That's 171 beats per minute, roughly, and all the heart rate stuff's guys. 171 beats per minute. I couldn't keep that up.
No, I couldn't.
So mine's not there. But 85%, you're then looking at 160 beats per minute.
That's quite a nice number, isn't it?
So then you go, maybe your anaerobic threshold is around 85%.
Yeah,
but then that's something to then push up. This leads us on. So the goal is to have that as high as you can. But this leads us on nicely to number 7, and this is the number 1 predictor of performance for most sports, is your speed and power at anaerobic threshold.
What does that mean?
So if your anaerobic threshold, let's just say it's 85% of your heart rate, looking at around, on what I estimate, 11 kilometers per hour.
Yeah.
So someone who's going to be a better athlete than me will be able to do that at 13 kilometers per hour.
I reckon I can do 12, probably more.
Yeah, so that's why you want to be testing stuff, seeing where you're at, and the goals to keep
to keep pushing everything up.
And that's what athletes do, and the ones that really want to improve.
Yeah,
is to push yourself. It's always about having a goal, isn't it? Beating that goal.
Yeah.
In anything in life, it's painful, and with fitness, it's just as painful. But it's good. It works.
But the reason you see some people just cruising along, and you're thinking, how are they running at that speed, and they're going to keep that going?
It's because
the power they've got at anaerobic threshold. So that's why, and a lot of stuff we'll do is you want to try and develop your anaerobic threshold, and you want to develop your aerobic base. And it's all about moving things up.
Yeah, and training hard when you're actually training, not just going through the motions like I did for years and years and years until I discovered Hyrox.
Work on something that you can actually develop and go, right, I want to push this. That doesn't mean you can do anaerobic threshold training all the time.
Don't do that.
Because you need to be able to recover from what you're doing. So you need to be sensible of what you're doing, so you're going to work hard but recover from it. So that is the number one predictor of how good somebody is at a sport. So that's a big thing that everybody wants to be.
So how far they can go at an aerobic threshold?
Yeah, so you want to push up the percentage of your anaerobic threshold, but you want to push up how fast you can be running. So
what was your percentage this morning then?
So when I was doing this morning, so on my run, I was getting up to 170 beats per minute on the run, which then takes that to 90%. But I know at 90%, I've gone above that anaerobic threshold.
And you're dying.
That's too much. That won't get me what I want from that session. So I need to be going, say, at 160. So what speed and how much power can I get with my heart rate at 160 beats per minute? Because that's where I'm at.
You need to be mentally strong.
You definitely do, don't you?
You
to push yourself in training,
to do
even
training.
to do the slow, boring stuff.
Yeah.
You have to mentally be ready to go, right, this is an hour and a half run and it's boring. How many of these things can you tick off and go, this is what I'm good at, this is what I'm developing, this is what I'm progressing with?
Did you just see I was sharing the brand?
Getting the independent gyms group. Yeah.
While you was talking.
Rob will love you.
Because I'm getting all distracted easily.
Yeah. Rob will love
me.
So yeah, you have to be mentally strong.
It's good. It's hard. It's meant to be hard. I keep saying that. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
But some of the training should be easy when you're doing your engine building stuff.
Yeah, and that's my favourite bit.
That's your worst bit. That's my worst bit, because mentally, I just find it boring.
So you struggle at that mentally.
So that's where I'll be mentally weaker.
I find that easy. That's weird, isn't it? That to me is mentally easy.
Yeah, you'll just plod along
la 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 la.
I'm just thinking, this is boring.
And then the anaerobic stuff, the fast-paced stuff, the 5K run developer was horrendous. But anyway, that's another story. We'll share that another time.
Physically hard. But to summarise, there's lots of things that you can work on to get better and better at the sport that you're doing, and our sport is Hyrox, and we're always working on trying to get better. And how many things could we tick off on there?
We do them all.
We work on them all. That's the point. We can tick them all off, saying we're trying to keep.
But I didn't know they were called all those posh names.
Yeah, we just give them fancy names, don't we?